Welcome to CKCon. It's an honor to speak with you all today. I'm here to talk about the future of CKB, or the Common Knowledge Base. So out of all the millions of people who have read or said CKB, I'm willing to bet less than 1% of them know what these letters stand for or what they mean. My slides are cut off here, but it says Common Knowledge Base. So you all know now what CKB stands for, and I hope over the course of the next 10 minutes or so to explain to you why it's called that. Okay, so we have to start out with this idea of common knowledge, which is information that we know and we also know everyone else knows. So that means this guy knows these things, this person knows these things, and all of these people know these things called common knowledge. And every one of these people in the crowd also know that everyone else knows these same things. So we can start out with a quick example. So will water freeze at this temperature? An American might say yes. Will water freeze at this temperature? Lots of people think it would. But we really wouldn't know for sure until we put the Celsius and Fahrenheit on these thermometers. So these systems of measuring temperature are universally known and they're shared by all of us. So you can imagine there was a time where only a few people knew or understood that there was a temperature that water froze, or even what temperature was, instead of something just being hot or cold. And our world is served by making more things common knowledge. And these things are, because of their universality and because we all know them, they're very strong things in our world. And you'll notice in front of me there's a sign that says, innovation begins with common knowledge. So everything that has been created or will be created in our world begins with something that we all know, some fact of our existence that's indisputable and gets passed on from one generation to the next. Our world is served by common knowledge. And especially in this world where the difference between facts and misinformation is becoming just a matter of opinion, it should be clear how powerful common knowledge can be. Okay, this was supposed to be a video, but I don't want to bore you guys. I know everyone loves making money, so let's talk about how to make money. Satoshi made money with the Bitcoin white paper and Bitcoin as a system, and he did so by creating a system of common knowledge. So all of the transactions in Satoshi's system, all of the blocks, they're all common knowledge. They're known by everyone, and this solved the double spend problem and created a digital currency with no issuer just by making the issuance of these coins and their transfer common knowledge. And in Bitcoin, this is what we call consensus. So because there's no authority in the system, when these kids in 20 years sync their Bitcoin full node, they're going to download all the transactions and verify Bitcoin's proof of work for themselves. And this establishes a system that we can all trust without trusting anyone. And this is the power of cryptography and common knowledge. And this is a crucial difference between proof of work and proof of stake. So a proof of work system makes the history of the system common knowledge and allows each person to independently verify and build the state of the system themselves. There's no authority. A proof of stake system is really just following the will of some powerful nodes. And thus a proof of work system comes to consensus on past events, while a proof of stake system is really just some coordination between these powerful nodes. And this is how you get the Ethereum meme of it's all social consensus. And the goal of CKB has been to generalize Bitcoin as a common knowledge system. So with CKB, anything can be stored, anything can be verified since 2019. And the Nervos DAO has also been running since 2019 as well, which is a protocol level smart contract where you can lock your CKB and receive a portion of issuance and take part in governance. So CKB began in 2019 with the Lena mainnet, and in 2021 was hard forked into Marana. And in 2025, it will be hard forked into Meepo. And there's a talk later today at 10:35 about Spawn, which is a new method of calling between scripts and actually makes a lot of applications easier to build on CKB. And the goal of CKB since inception has been to design a system that can run sustainably without an authority. The significant engineering accomplishments, but they're relatively minor compared to the ambitions of the hard forks of a lot of other crypto projects. And from a core development perspective these days, CKB looks conservative compared to pretty much any chain, even Bitcoin, which is something that's hard to understate. And to me, it's a huge credit to the CKB core developers. There's still a lot of work to be done to make CKB easier to use for developers and for the world at large. And there'll be a lot more talks today that I'm sure that will be covered. But it seems likely that a lot of these changes are not the kind of consensus level things. Well, they're not changes. A lot of the development is not consensus level changes that we think of when we think about the development of a blockchain these days. So we're here in 2024, and the future of CKB is happening right now. There's the Fiber network, which is the first payment channel network connected to Bitcoin's Lightning network. It's live on testnet, and the team is preparing for a mainnet release. You can learn more at 12:30 p.m. today. There's also iCKB, which will unlock the liquidity of the almost 9 billion CKB that's locked in the Nervos DAO. There's a talk about that at 2:20 p.m. today. And we also have the frontier of Web 5, which is an entirely new way of thinking about how blockchains can be used in, I guess, in decentralized systems. Also, we have RGB++, which is, I think, arguably the most powerful meta protocol built on Bitcoin. It's been live for more than 6 months, and there's a huge community here today. And these ideas really are just the start. I know the Bitcoin mailing list is full of ideas over the years, and all of these can be applied to CKB. So we know that the next step of CKB will be MIPO, but if we look beyond that, what can we expect? So some ideas are best expressed through memes. And I can explain with an anecdote. I've heard someone compare CKB to Singapore before because it's small and it's powerful, and in its own way and due to its determination and commitment, it has become great. It's also new. It's not burdened by the decisions or relics of the past. And Lee Kuan Yew is recognized as the founding father of Singapore. He served as prime minister for 31 years. But Singapore has now had 4 prime ministers, and they're elected for 6-year terms. So starting something great is the work of one person or a small group of people, but anything that becomes great in our world takes a village. It takes a lot of people to make it great. And Bitcoin has always been this inspiration for CKB. And observing Bitcoin, it makes it clear that a blockchain needs to run on public goodwill. And you could even argue that Bitcoin's success points to a blockchain at some point being better off without a founder involved. And with Bitcoin, we have Satoshi's writings to point at. These can become almost religious kind of texts, but because we're technologists, it's really not that serious. But it is something that the entire community can look at and choose whether they want to accept this as what they follow, whether they want to be a part of this or not. And with CKB, we have these RFCs. All of the ideas and standards that become CKB are contained here, and the process has always been designed to enable permissionless contribution. While the last 7 years has been a great deal of work done to get the chain started, we know that the role of the initiating teams has to evolve over time. CKB was never designed to be a monarchy or an oligarchy or to entrench anyone in power in the system. It's in the positioning paper that we choose proof of work because we don't want stakers to just take up residence in the system and be there forever. You want miners to fight for their existence. So this is one of the many reasons that CKB is secured by proof of work instead of proof of stake. The Nervos DAO has been running since the chain launched, and right now there are hundreds of millions of CKB getting burnt every year that are intended for a protocol treasury to be activated by the community. So the idea of this protocol treasury and decentralized governance is a complex endeavor, and there's a lot of development work that needs to be done to administer this treasury. We have plenty of time, but it's important that we begin the work of becoming skilled at working together and as a global community. The CKB Community Fund DAO has been running for almost 2 years. It has funded 12 proposals distributing about 30 million CKB, and there's about 246 million CKB still in the DAO. Now, I know there are plenty of suggestions for how the design of the DAO and the user experience can be improved, but this is the kind of thing that we need to be working toward. And the future of CKB beyond MIPO is in all of our hands. And I know this is not the typical message you hear from a blockchain project. We're used to hearing ambitious engineering plans and grand promises, but I think these projects just have different aims. Proof of work eliminates reliance on any authority, and CKB has always been built with the belief that power should be fluid. So the chain has been designed to be low level and allow for permissionless evolution. And as we look toward the future, the stage is set to apply this mindset to governance and leadership as well. CKB is built with strong principles, and I know we have this culture that holds us together. We have important shared beliefs and principles, and with this as a foundation, the best ideas can flourish, and the brightest stars can lead us. So I'm excited to see what we can do together as this global community. And yeah, I'll see you all on GitHub and the forum where all these things will be worked out. So thank you all for coming to CKCon. And with that, I will pass the mic to the next talk.
Thank you all.